and welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
And today we are continuing our draft profile series with number 2. Well, the second player, I guess, not number 2.
Yeah.
Where will he end up on our big board? We don't know. But Malik Willis, quarterback out of Liberty. Very exciting player, Jerry.
Yes, he is. He's a 3-star recruit out of Atlanta, Georgia. Willis originally accepted an offer from Virginia Tech to play defensive back. After transferring his senior year of high school and guiding his team to the state championship, Auburn offered him a scholarship that would allow him to play quarterback. So he rescinded his offer to Virginia Tech and signed with the Auburn Tigers. After barely seeing the field his freshman and sophomore year, and not even in the discussion to start in 2019, Willis transferred to Liberty. There he led the Flames to an 8-5 record and a bowl win over Coastal Carolina in his junior year. He had great stats, but he did regress statistically in his senior season, but led the Flames to a 10-1 record and another bowl win. And yes, the Liberty's mascot is the Flames because I kept saying Flames while going over this, and it kept cracking me up.
The Flames. Like the Heat or something like that.
Yeah, it's just a weird name.
Yeah, not great. Malik Willis is 6'1", 215, so he's on the smaller side. Mm-hmm. When you think of quarterbacks, particularly
mobile, running type of quarterbacks.
Mobile, really, successful in college quarterbacks, but you mentioned he regressed statistically in 2021 versus 2020, and that is true in some ways. I'm not going to really talk about his Auburn stats. Like you said, he didn't really start, but in 2020 and at Liberty, 64% completion, 2,200 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 944 rushing yards, and 14 touchdowns. So he's got that component. When you look at 2021, completion center is down to 61%. More passing yards at 2,800. More passing touchdowns, 27. More interceptions, unfortunately, double the interceptions at 12. Mm-hmm. And a little less rushing yards, 878, with 13 touchdowns rather than 14. So he regressed statistically in some cases, improved in others. Total touchdowns and improvement. Total turnovers probably worse. But
yeah, a lot of people kind of expected him after his junior year to kind of take that step up, and he didn't take that step up. He was on that top quarterback watch list, and unfortunately with him doubling his interceptions, and again, this is against lower tier. This isn't the SEC he's playing against. He dropped in a lot of people's eyes. He drops, though. Why did you not get better, a lot better? Why did you not only have an extra interception or so with those 27 touchdowns? Why did all that happen? That being said, I mean, his stats are nice, and you said he's not that big, 6'1", 215. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of...
Yeah, I think the weight mainly is where I'm going there.
Well,
like he's real skinny.
Now, I saw some people compare him to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, 6'2", 212. So he's actually a smaller build than Lamar Jackson. Yeah. I personally don't think he runs as well as Lamar Jackson. I think he runs well, but I don't think that well.
Lamar Jackson is really fast. I think Malik Willis is really quick. Mm-hmm. Right? But doesn't have the
top end
sprinter's speed. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I saw the exact same thing. I didn't write that in our little thing, but I saw the exact same thing. So let's go quickly over some pros and cons, and then I'll kind of do some of my comps that I thought, and I'll let you kind of go from there. Yeah. Let's go with the pros. Everything I've read about him is he's a great leader. And he's going to the Senior Bowl this year, and I read some people saying whoever is around the Senior Bowl, expect him to fall in love with him because he's just a great leader. He leads by example, and people love him. And that's a great thing for a quarterback. Great arm strength.
It's very important.
Great arm strength. If you watch any of his YouTube highlights and stuff, every ball is deep. It's just so deep.
Yeah, and I'll say that there was a report today from the Senior Bowl, and the guy was saying that nobody has the velocity on their ball that he does. Like, it's nobody else there is anywhere close. So he's got a cannon.
And that's my next thing, is accurate on his deep balls. Again, all the passes were just drops in the bucket. Yes, his receivers were 2-3 yards away from the defenders, but he caught them in stride, dropping it in their hands. It's very impressive. Something that the Panthers have not had for a long time since Cam Newton, got that shoulder injury.
Yeah.
Athletic, won't go down by arm tackles, going to be in the pocket. Defenders try to grab him. He's not going to go down typically. And running the ball, same thing. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, he's really elusive. I wouldn't say that he's like, a Cam Newton or Ben Roethlisberger, Josh Allen type of breaking away from tackles in the pocket. He just sort of slips out of them.
Yeah.
And he's really good in the pocket, or good at evading pressure in the pocket, I should say.
Yeah. And another thing he's good at when evading the pocket is he can throw on the run.
Yeah.
He runs the ball well, and he can throw on the run. I saw multiple throws where he was outside the pocket, running for his life, and being able to make the nice throw deep. Again, this offense at Liberty seemed like they only wanted to go deep most of the time that I saw.
Yeah, and when we get into the cons, I think that's one of the ones that you have to look at, is you don't really know how he reads the field. We'll say that. Like, he seemed to me, when I watched tape, it was first read, if it's not there, run. Now, was that him not feeling comfortable going through his progressions, or was that Liberty's offense, which you've got this, incredible weapon at quarterback that can outrun and run past pretty much all the level of competition you're facing? Do you just say, hey, if it's not there, go. If it is there, throw it deep? Because I didn't see a lot of over the middle stuff from him. What I did see, some of it wasn't extremely accurate, but going downfield, like you mentioned, he's very accurate going downfield. He throws a really, really good deep ball, but the intermediate stuff, not great. And that's why he was, in college at that level of competition, a 60% passer.
Yeah. One thing I saw the same things. I saw a lot of articles talking about how he doesn't go through progressions. There are times where I saw him stay in the pocket and he go through his progressions. I saw multiple times where there, but again, it's the offense that I think he was reading. This is something that the NFL coaches are going to have to talk to him about. They're going to have to watch more tape than I can. They're going to have to watch his eyes. But it seemed like he was going through the progressions, but a lot of the plays called for 1, 2, I'm out, I'm running, because you're in the FBS, you're in the lower tier bowl. Malik Wilson's a Division I talent physically.
Yeah.
I mean, just he's an NFL physical talent.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, he didn't play defensive back in high school, but Virginia Tech already offered him a scholarship to play because he was such a physical talent. So that would be something. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was
just gonna say a few more. Come on, we never do this. We should start a podcast one day. Maybe we'll get better at that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, that's just something that the coaches are really going to have to pay attention to. Talk to them. Go like the Jay Gruden camp where they would draw boards, say, like, where's your progressions at? That's something I think also he could learn to better than in college.
Of course. He's still very young. I mean, he's raw. A lot of his game is raw, which is kind of another con. But he does get a little happy feet in the pocket, which, again, I think is he knows if that first read's not there, he's going to go most of the time. Now, of course, you can see examples of him going through progression, like you said. So I think that is, something he could learn to do more of in the NFL. Of course, with the Panthers, that he might not have the time to go through the progressions, but that's neither here nor there. We have mentioned here in our cons, always looking for the home run ball instead of settling on a completion. Yes, I agree with that, and I think a lot of that was probably style, like the style of Liberty, the style of their offense. But one thing that I think is on Malik Willis, he often waits for a receiver to get open before he throws the ball. Mm-hmm. He doesn't anticipate, at least from just watching film. I did not watch any Liberty games live this season. Shocking. But just from looking at tape and reading and, kind of doing as much research as I could on him, it seems like he has a bit of an issue reading like a zone defense, going on the middle of the field, passing on the middle of the field. And I think a lot of that is just when you're going downfield, you're throwing the ball. You know where you're throwing the ball. So he needs to get a little quicker at that and, learn to trust his receiver essentially is going to be at the spot. Again, level of competition, level of his teammates, maybe he didn't trust that, but that is a con.
Yeah, he needs to learn how to throw his receivers open. That is actually one of my cons on him because a lot of times, especially in the NFL, those windows are a lot tighter than they are that he's going to see. In a lot of the tape I saw, his deep throws, the receiver had like 2-3 yards, even more, where the receiver had all the time. DJ Moore's not going to get that in the NFL. He's going to be playing Marshawn Lattimore. He's going to be playing, the top tier, defensive backs in the league. So he's going to have to learn that those windows aren't there. He's going to have to anticipate when they get open to throw it before they actually get open.
And that's not to say that he can't or he lacks the capacity to do that. There's a lot of quarterbacks that come in the league with that problem. I think Josh Allen had a lot of the same problems, honestly, that I see out of Malik Willis, Josh Allen had. Mm-hmm. And Josh Allen has worked and eliminated a great deal of those and improved all of them. So now,
did you
certainly the possibility is there.
Did I tell you my comp?
No, was it Josh Allen?
It was Josh Allen and Cam Newton because they both had the same issue with that not setting their feet, always throwing on the back foot. Kind of very similar, coming out of college issues, and both of them kind of progressed. Granted, Cam Newton didn't progress as well as Josh Allen in the throwing
in terms of throwing the ball. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my comp to his quarterback passing abilities. Now, I know a lot of people compared him to more Lamar Jackson. I don't see that. I don't see him being that dynamic around. But I was thinking more of a Colin Kaepernick was a good situation where he's not fat, like top end speed, but he was quick, he was elusive, and he could make some big plays. And I think that would be more, maybe Colin Kaepernick had more of it, but Malik Willis could do that.
Yeah.
So
I hadn't thought of Colin Kaepernick. That's not a bad one. I think Kaepernick's a bigger guy, but I think in terms of their running ability, especially, I think is pretty similar. I think that's a good one. But yeah, what I saw from Malik Willis is able to, fly through the line, outrun everybody, and then get caught about 15 to 20 yards later on by one of the DBs. So I don't know that he's ever the fastest guy on the field. I think he's the quickest guy on the field in terms of being able to get loose and get gone. So I think he'll be able to replicate that in the NFL, I believe. But yeah, that top end speed, and guys are a lot faster in the NFL than they are in whoever Liberty was playing. All these, I saw the Mean Green was one of their opponents. But yeah, I mean, he's gonna have to adapt. He's gonna have to learn how to read his progressions, throw over the middle, especially if he's with the Panthers or a team like that likes to throw to the running back. That's where all of Christian McCaffrey's catches are outside of the screen passes is right over the middle. So you're going to want to utilize that weapon.
Yeah. If he's healthy.
Yeah, right. For weeks 1 through 3, you are going to want to utilize that weapon.
Yeah. But that brings up kind of my thought here is if we hypothetically drafted Malik
Mm-hmm.
Willis, that would be such a fun, dangerous type of
Mm-hmm.
scheme to draw up with, Christian McCaffrey, read option, and RPO, and then you have DJ Moore. Hopefully, Robbie Anderson can find his hands because he left him in the last season.
Right.
So, that would be kind of something fun to watch and at least give the defense kind of confuse them a little bit because, the quarterback can bust off a 20-yard run anytime. So,
It's either going to be fun to watch or it's quickly going to get frustrating to watch
yeah.
with this coaching staff, because that's sort of where my head is at with Malik Willis. Is I think he has the highest ceiling probably of any of the quarterbacks we're going to talk about, but I think he also may have the lowest floor.
Oh,
And I
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think he is maybe not the least ready to play now of the guys we're going to talk about, but I don't think he's ready to play now.
I agree. I don't think you should trot Malik Willis out week 1. Unless he just shines in camp and you're just like, I can't keep this guy. I mean, Russell Wilson was a 3rd-round pick who was not projected to start, but he just shined in camp so much that they were like, we can't keep him off. And if he does something like that, you play him. That being said, I feel like he's a boomer bust talent that you're going to have to nurture into the NFL. I don't think tossing him out there right away is the right route for him.
And do you trust Matt Rule to be that nurturer? To be the guy that brings him along slowly, doesn't get impatient, doesn't, quickly decide to either yank the starter and put in Malik and then yank Malik and put back in the start. I think Matt Rule might be the worst coach.
Or throw him under the bus after the press
Exactly.
conference. Yeah.
I mean, we saw when he had a weapon like Cam Newton, he wanted to play him until he made a mistake, and then he pulled him out, but then he wanted to still play him because he's such a weapon, but he's not the best thrower. I don't see this as a fit here at all with Matt Rule. I like Malik Willis a lot, and I would love to see him out, doing his thing. But I don't think Matt Rule is a good fit at all.
With that being said, though, will any rookie quarterback be a good fit? Because, he's going to do that to all of them. I agree with you, though. I understand exactly what you're screaming because I think Malik Willis needs to be not babied, but he needs the Patrick Mahomes type of system where he goes with a veteran quarterback, a solid coach, and they show him the ropes and let him grow. I don't think you should toss him out there.
He needs that, and he needs someone willing to tailor an offense around his skill set and not try to shoehorn him into their system. Right?
I
they
think
need an innovator.
I 100% agree with that. That is something I did not say, but that is, yes, you cannot put him into any offense. He needs a special offense, an RPO, read option type of option.
Yeah. That being said, he's all over the place in mock drafts, and people you talk to and teams that are talking, like he is anywhere from a potential top 10 pick to a 2nd-round pick. I mean, he is all over the place. So we'll talk about that in a second, but we'll go through our questions now. Every player that we talk about, we have a set of questions we ask just to sort of compare them. So does this player fit the Panthers' current roster?
I would say
we need
yes.
a quarterback. So
the desperation for a quarterback, yes.
Right. Yeah. It could certainly a position of need, and he's as good, probably a better pick than any of the other QBs out there just for his ceiling. So yes, I would say yes. Will this player fall to the Panthers at 6?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he'll be there. If they want him at 6, they can take him at 6.
I will say I do not want him at 6. This is a type of player that I would like us to trade back, accumulate more draft capital and or players, offensive line, and then take later on in the draft. I don't think taking him at 6 would benefit this franchise with the needs that they have right now.
I agree. If they are able to get him at 18, 15, something like that, and pick up, another second, third round pick or something like that, then I'm perfectly fine with that. I have no issue taking him in the first round, but I 100% agree with you. He's not going to be picked, I don't think, in the top 10. So you can get him a little later on. So taking him at 6 is a high.
Yeah, we may need to change this this question. Will this player fall to 6, and should the Panthers take him at 6 or trade back to get him?
Well,
Because
I think we usually talk about that.
Okay, because I know we added a lot of guys that are going to be later on in the first round that we think the Panthers might be able to drop back and grab. And I think this would be a good player for him. Malik Willis would be. Would you be excited if they drafted Malik Willis?
Again, yes. Less so if they take him at 6. But even then, I'll talk myself into it. I mean, he's going to be dynamic. And if he puts it all together, he could be that Lamar Jackson MVP caliber type player.
Yeah, 100% agree. That's what I would be very excited. I agree. I think I'd be kind of shell shocked if they took him at 6 because that seems like a reach to me, but he has potential to be a stud quarterback. The problem is it's a boom or bust pick. You could set this franchise back 2-3 years or go to the Super Bowl in 2-3 years, Joe Burrow.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, he's the type of guy that you're going to say one of two things after 2 or 3 years. How did he fall to 6? Or why the hell was he taken in the first round? That's going to be the conversation 2 to 3 years from now about him.
Yeah.
Because I don't think 6 was about right. No, I don't think so. I think he's going to be like either
Josh Allen,
absolute stud, or he's just going to kind of never get it,
Yeah.
So
I mean, you look at that draft now. It's why did Josh Allen not go first overall instead of I think it was Baker Mayfield. I mean, it's
right.
So, with that being said, let's look at the MeowMix big board. Right now, we only have one player on it, Evan Neal, offensive tackle, Alabama, number 1 on the board. We're not taking Malik Willis over. No. Okay.
No.
Later
Evan
on,
Neal it's gonna be tough for anybody to knock Evan Neal off that number 1 spot, I think.
Yeah. That's kind of why also we threw him. I wanted to put him out first, but he also won. So,
right.
The Twitter poll. So, yeah. Any last thoughts on Malik Willis before we go? Besides, flame on, flame off.
Flame. I will watch Malik Willis's career with great interest. I think he could be really, really special if he can put those few major things, but very few of them, if he can fix those. I think he could be awesome.
I do too. I think Malik Willis could be a great quarterback. I think he could be a Pro Bowler, a guy that can lead a team to the Super Bowl. But I also could see him being a quarterback that is out of league in 4 or 5 years after failing at his first stop, goes to a backup role, doesn't do it. The only thing I feel that he has really, that I feel that he could go more the good way is his leadership ability. From everything I'm reading, and usually guys like that tend to lift other players up and take the time to really put it in himself. So, with that said, we want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. And if you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on the show. Next week, our draft profile will be on Tyler Linderbaum, center out of Iowa.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. All right, everyone. Until then, stay safe out there and keep pounding.